published a cookbook, and it's not, recently I published a cookbook, and it's not just a cookbook. There's some healthier choices in there. There's some gluten-free options. There's some love poems with each recipe as well. So it's something that I'm very proud of. I do many things. I'm a realtor. I am a business owner. I'm an entrepreneur. This is one of the most things that I am most proud of lately. So I'm excited. I collected a bunch of cards today from everyone that is here. Met a lot of new faces, and I'm having a book signing event on April 25th at Club Soda. If you give me your card, I'll be back to invite you. Ticket number 15444918. 918. So I signed it, and it says, "To a beautiful Broadway woman on the move, may God bless your journey."
I really need my PowerPoint for this journey. So while we're waiting, I grabbed a couple of cards too, and I wanted to acknowledge, I don't know if you guys know that we're in a campaign season besides presidential. We sometimes forget about local, right? So we do have candidates that are running for at-large on the county council. There's the city council, and then there's the county council. So let me see, I grabbed who I consider a good friend. Kevin Hunter, are you here still? Hey, stand up. Thank you for being out. We're running the county council at large. And I know it's a busy time. Nina Bailey, are you still here? All right. So we thank you both for stepping out for county council at large. If you don't know, Councilwoman Hunter had held that seat, but that's a very challenging, not at large. What district was it, Councilwoman?
First district.
First district. It's a hard feat. We have the right people on the ticket to get it. We have the right people on the ticket. Y'all put good vibrations in the air. It's going to come back, y'all, right? Come back. Yes. Amen. Mommy here yet? Because of the time. So let me get to. Alrighty, so the first thing I'm going to. The first thing I'm going to do is the basket. Technology be our friend. All right, here we go. Nina Bailey. Tanisha Okay, I gotta remove you. Okay, so you don't win again. Now, this is for our first $250 scholarship, either for you or someone that you feel that's worthy of a $250 book scholarship. All right, let's come on. Is it going to spin again? Oh, it's perfect. Micah Benson. She's a young up and coming, y'all. She's doing a lot of wonderful things in our community. And this is random. I swear this is random. I have nothing to do with this. And thank you for being here. Make sure you give me the contact information so if it's I don't know if you're in school or someone that you that is so awesome. Thank you. All right. All right, here we go. Here it comes. Lizette Carmona, are you here? All of it, you should have been here, girl. Thank you for the allyship. I know. 50-50, everything in the house, but she needed to be here. All right, here we go. We're going to try one more. It's so... I probably should have qualified that. You need to be in the house. Sarah Murphy. So Sarah, you have somebody in mind? Do you have someone in mind? What? Do you have someone in mind? For what? Well, if they're in school, if it's not you, then you don't have to think right now. But before you go, you can bless someone. All right, you guys. So we are going to be. All right, probably back. I know it's a little bit. So I have the distinct pleasure. Thank God I'm not moderated there. I can't see nothing without this thing. All right, so we are so blessed this evening to have Dr. Dawn Moore, who will be moderating for us. Dr. Moore was actually one of our panelists last year. So Dawn is a subject matter expert in diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, and inclusive leadership. She has a PhD in global leadership and has a DEI in workplace certificate from the University of South Florida. Dawn is an very outspoken advocate for diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, especially in predominantly white spaces and walking in lessons as well. She is also known as being a business-savvy consultant, professional, passionate professor, and public speaker. And it's going to be a good moment, you guys. So put your hands together for Dr. Dawn Moore.
Thank you. So this is Women's History Month, a time to celebrate the incredible achievements of women today, yesterday, and tomorrow. From mothers to daughters, artists to activists, and politicians over people, right? No, people over politicians. Y'all pay attention. Read the bag. Okay, never mind. So women have shaped our world in countless ways. Yet their stories often go unheard. And this evening, we are going to honor the legacy of women right here in Fort Wayne and allow them to raise their voices. And together, including all of you, we will inspire the next generation of history makers. So at this time, I'm not going to read bios of our panelists, but I am going to call them up one by one and tell you their profession, right? And then we will give them the opportunity to introduce themselves to all of you, and then we will have some candid conversations. First off, we have Miss Bree Andrews. She works at Larry Caring, a hospice volunteer coordinator, manager, and her passion is mental health. Next, we have none other than Devetta Chambers, Little Thinker School for Early Learning, the president, because her passion is child development. It's not you yet. Next, we have my prayer warrior, Mrs. Quila Pettis, Resilient Women Conference founder, Faith in the Workplace. And now we have you know, you just can't pronounce everything, right? Mrs. Cynthia Buenanueva. Cynthia B. Northeast Indiana Community Outreach Manager at Partners, First Federal Credit Union. And of course, she's representing women in banking. Next, we have my friend, my soul, Tabitha Urban, Chief Operating Officer of the YMCA. And she represents women in the C-suite. Then, of course, many of you may know Mrs. Tisha Strasser, founder and CEO of Brain Power, right? And her passion is about mother and daughter relationships. And finally, and of course, not least, one of my fashion faves, Mrs. Leslie Hill, Director of Entrepreneurial Services, Women of Entrepreneurial Services, or Center Director, and believe it or not, her love and passion is fashion and you. So, we have introduced our powerful panelists. But now they're going to tell you about themselves, and I'm going to ask them to share with you. When you introduce yourself, and we'll start with Miss Tabitha here, or Mrs. Urban down here, and down to Mrs. Hill. Share a personal motto or a slogan. What's your go-to that keeps you going every day personally and professionally. And like I tell my students, if you don't have anything, you can say pass.
I'm going to have to not laugh. Me and Leslie, my spirit animal down there. All right, so I am a wife, a mother, a believer in Christ, a leader, and a role model. So that's how I would introduce myself without my titles. My current go-to, so I rotate these go-tos, but my current one, as it sits right now, as it relates to what I'm currently doing in life, is, and even my supervisor says this, leaders lead and everybody else be playing. You either leading or you playing, right? And so that is my current go-to, because right now I'm a leader of leaders. And so I spend a lot of time with people who are leading things or supposed to be leading things. And so leaders lead and everybody else is playing.
Same thing.
Okay, well, I just want to say thank you to everybody who are here and supporting us. I believe that every one of us have a story to share, and every one of you empower us. And I cannot say that from the day one that I stepped in the United States 25 years ago, and I'm a mother of 4. And I'm from Peru, South America, and I'm in banking since my 18 years old. But when I get here, it wasn't easy. You need to go through this immigration process, and all those barriers. The language, the education, and of course my kids, because I was a single mother. And just to get where I am right now, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy, but, people sometimes say, oh, Cynthia, you're a survivor. And I will say, a fighter, a fighter. And one of the words that I love to share with everyone is what every single woman thrives. And 2 days a day, I'm thriving. And I can tell now that, the knowledge that I got in my background and my culture and the love of my family and friends, it just gave me the power to continue doing my mission, that is empowering more women and educate them and give them, all the knowledge that I got. And it wasn't easy also to gather them. It wasn't. I wait every time that I met every single person at my desk. It's a story that they share with me, and it's a story that I don't forget. And just a simple say listening, a simple thank you, just a call, follow up with them. It's just what it makes the difference with them, and they teach me so much, and that's what it gave me the strength to continue in this in my journey as in banking. So yeah, thank you.
My name's Bree Andrews, so I'm going to go through some of my titles because I'm so proud to be so with the community and connected with the community, and so my roles display a lot of those ties. And if you hear some places that you are familiar with and that you're connected to as well, I'd love for you to give a little shout, because they deserve honor for all the things that they're doing in this community as well. But I am a hospice volunteer coordinator, so a program manager for Elara Caring. I'm a high school classroom speaker for the Respect team. I'm a youth advocate for Bring It, Push It, Own It. Yes, I saw some like Bring It ladies here. I'm the vice president of the Allen County Young Democrats. I am the lieutenant officer for the original Black Panther Party of Fort Wayne.
Yeah.
And I'm a youth advocate, DEIJ, so diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice. as well as a woman's advocate here in this community for teen moms and single moms. So my slogan, I actually was invited by one of my mentors to another women's event, and this, I don't remember who said it, but I wrote it down in my notes as soon as I heard it. The slogan is, hard work will get us there, but hard work will keep us there. And it was actually an event that Sharon Tucker was on the panel of, and if I'm not mistaken, she's the one that said it.
Very good, thank you. Okay, go, okay. How do I follow that? Man, I just said. Okay. My name is Quila Pettis. I am a wife, a mother, a daughter. My mother is right over there, my way behind. She drove me to South Bend to be here. I am a Christian. I am an influencer. A phenomenal woman, that's me. I'm a professional, a healthcare professional. I'm a people's person. And if I would have to say, like, what motto do I live by? You made me think about that, like, what motto do I live by? But really, what I live by is, I'm a pastor wife. But that just speaks, I don't lead with that. I don't lead with, I'm probably the pastor. Because people start to tense up a little bit if they're around me and they know that. But I try and live in a way that when you see me, you experience me. When I walk away from someone, I've gone to several thousands of funerals, right? And it's when I'm sitting at a funeral and I'm listening to everyone and then they talk about the dash in the middle. And so legacy is my go-to this year, probably the rest of my life. So when I'm sitting at a funeral and I'm hearing all this stuff and I'm like, man, what are they gonna say about me when I go? So because of that, I try and live my life in a way that when someone sees me, they say, that's Quila, that's Quila, I spoke to her, that's Quila, she's real cute. But I want you to experience me, so when I walk away from someone and I've had an encounter with someone, I want to know that I walked away and made an impact in your life.
Okay, I am a sister, and I'm a daughter to that beautiful young lady over there we've been waiting for all along. I have 2 sons, 2 grown sons, and actually a total of 11 grandchildren. So, and my passion is, of course, early childhood education because as a young person, I had my first child at 20 years old, and I wasn't married, and against everything that was holding me back, I still persevered because my sister, my baby sister, was doing so much as a young person, and it just made me step my game up. So I fell into early childhood education, doing a favor for a friend to get certified for 5 kids, and it was in my home, and so I did some more research, so I've always been into public service. I was a foster parent for years. I worked for DCS, and then when I got into childcare, I educated myself. I did quit school. I went back and got my GED, then went back and got my college degree because I couldn't be my own director. So that led me to opening 2 daycare centers and an infant and toddler program and a home environment, and I have a really big project coming up, but I can't speak on it, just pray about it. And I'm just really excited that my sister thought my sad little story was enough to be on this panel with all these women here, so thank you for having me.
Well, hello, Tisha. I'm going to start with my motto because I think it pretty much feeds into what I do. So my motto is, you can become your own damn hero because you're the strongest person you will ever know. Yeah! So I start there because it feeds into, I'm here to represent one of my businesses, Brain Power Her, and the focus is I've worked with girls for over a decade, so this is where this has been birthed from. And I know that as women, for us to live our fullest life, for us to go after things, for us to be in city council and Congress and doing all these amazing things, we have to be healed. We have to not be walking around with generational things that have been passed down. And we need to have healthy relationships with our girls, and our girls need to have that with us. So Brain Power Her is to make sure that women, we've healed all those things that have been passed along that we didn't ask for, but we got them. And so that we can really go after the life that we deserve. And then also making sure that moms are healed in a way that they can empower their daughters. So these girls will take over the world for us. I have a 24-year-old daughter and an 18-year-old daughter, and I really had to heal myself and work through knowing that I'm part of that. It's not just them, it's not their generation. So the beautiful thing is knowing that women are in a space that we're really able to go after the life we want. To do that, we have to really work on ourselves, love ourselves, and know we are our own damn heroes, ladies.
Well, I'm last. So I'm Leslie Hill, and I am a director of a women's business center. I'm a mom, I'm a sister, I'm all the things that many, many of us are. I will also say I'm a wannabe. I want to be the best me that I can possibly be. If I could be half of what everybody else is, if you don't take that. My motto is honestly to stay uncomfortable.
Yes. Wow. Taking notes and then Leslie stopped. Very good. These are our phenomenal panelists. And of course, you know, we all know this is a work day, so we'll try and be brief or not. But I will ask a few questions because you've heard a little bit about them in terms of personal and professional things that they do. So we know that just some short questions will be just as impactful, or their answers will be just as impactful in terms of living in history and making history in their own right. So I want to ask a few of you a question about how you got started in your profession. And so I'll start with Tisha.
Yeah, so like I said, I've also empowered girls for over a decade. So this is kind of like the second stage of watching what I see in girls and also being an at-risk girl myself. So I came from pretty much every trauma you can imagine and had absent parents and absent mother. I love the mother love in this room because it's so important. And so after empowering girls for a long time, I would see things with mom. A lot of times women, I'm just going to be honest, will come to me and say, fix my girl. And I'm like, what? So just kind of looking at the fact that I know as a woman who's been through a lot of things, and with my own girls, I had to really start to look at myself and be really self-aware as they got older and noticing, am I passing things down? Do I have generational things that I think that I'm not saying, I'm not doing? And so really paying attention to what's happening as a mother, and that relationship is so important. I do not have a mother in my life, but I make sure that I'm really intentional with my girls. And so I think that if we're able to fix that relationship, we're able to heal, and we're able to, especially as moms, make sure that like we're still willing to grow. Because a lot of times we say, oh, it's on our kids, it's their job to grow and be their best, but actually it's ours. So I saw a need with the mom-daughter relationship and with women to heal that stuff so you can be your best. Because you raise your kids so they can become adults so you can be their friend. Like at some point you want to be friends and you can stop being, you know, that mother that has to be everything. So that's what's really brought me to the space of Brain Power. We call it mother and daughter unfiltered because we got to stop putting the filters on and pretending that everything is great. There's a lot of work to be done in that relationship, but it's so worth it.
Very good. And so, Miss Andrews, tell us, how did you get started in your career journey? Because you had a lot of great things that you do, and of course, those things are very impactful to the community.
So I'll touch on just a few of them. I chose healthcare because I knew there was a need that I could fulfill, promotional growth opportunities there that I could achieve, and useful wealth of knowledge that I could be able to increase upon. When I first got into healthcare, my mom was dealing with epilepsy and heart disease, and we just didn't have enough information. And she had worked in healthcare, but I just feel like she didn't have someone right alongside her advocating for her in the office, making sure that I was understanding her full prognosis, that I understood what she needed in order to be able to improve her diagnosis. And so I immediately got into healthcare so that I could expand my knowledge on it and learn more. And then I got really into nutrition, understanding nutrition and how nutrition could benefit her. She ended up going vegetarian after we did our full deep dive of research, and was able to get off all of the medication that she was on for her epilepsy and heart disease. So I just knew it was an important role for me to step into and to grow my knowledge on so that I could be the person to stand in the gap for my family and for my mom. The reason why I chose advocacy is because I was abused in my home for my childhood up until the age of 13. And I felt a real responsibility from that. I had 2 younger siblings, and my eldest sister had ran away already due to the abuse. And so I needed to stand in the gap and protect my younger siblings. That became something that I took very seriously. No one really knew what was going on. People didn't ask me, how life was when I was at school. They didn't ask me at church. No one really knew what was going on behind closed doors, which is why we need advocates. We need people that are asking the questions, that are paying attention, and not only being self-aware, but aware of the people that are around you. If you start noticing when someone comes into the room that they're a little off, that their energy is off, start asking questions. Truly show that you care, especially with our youth, because they are not always going to have the courage to be able to come to you and tell you what's going on behind closed doors and in their household with their parents. They're not always going to be able to do that. So that's why I chose advocacy, because I needed someone in my life standing in the gap for me, asking me those tough questions, and now I can be that person for someone else. With politics, it's real simple. As a Black woman, I looked at politics the same way that I look at most law enforcement, operating with the mindset that this isn't designed with my life in mind or my safety in mind, so it must not care about me, and therefore I can't trust its ability to protect me or amplify my voice. The reason why I got involved into politics is because I was inspired by the local Black women in politics that I saw before me. That was Miss Sheila Curry Campbell. That was Miss Michelle Chambers. That was Miss Sharon Tucker. Yes, representation all made all the difference in my choice to be able to get involved in politics and be able to look at it differently. Also, avow advancing voices of women. That took me to a whole nother level of knowledge, experience, connection, and made me realize, I do need to be a part of this space, because I need to be the voice not only of my youth, but of the people that look like me, of the people that don't look like me, of the people that just don't simply have a voice, which is why I was ignited with passion for civic and political engagement.
Yes. Ooh. I kind of want to sit down out there with y'all. Okay. Couple of you I want to ask, kind of very similar, and I'll start with you, Mrs. Hill. What is the why behind your chosen profession, or what you see as your area of expertise?
Well, I get asked all the time, why do we need women's programs? Like every day, I'm asked that. Never shocks me. And I think the reason, honestly, I kind of fell into women's support organizations, honestly. I knew when I was younger I loved fashion, and I think that was a voice for me being like a middle child. I totally had middle child syndrome. So I got to stand out in my clothes. And so that just kind of kept blossoming and blossoming. Went to school for that, blah, blah, blah. Got out, was in corporate America, and my mouth is just too big for corporate America. Just don't fit in. So when I left there, I did small business, and then I was like, now I'm going to start my own. And that was great. And then I was like, oh, we got to do this thing called scaling to like really make money. That wasn't going to happen. So I looked for something that I loved, all the things that I loved about owning my own business, which was getting up and speaking in front of people, motivating others, teaching people things that I could take for granted that I knew. And when I made that list, it ended up being this position. And it all fit together because the very first board experience I had was with the Women's Bureau. And so everything just kind of kept rolling and rolling. And so I would love to say that it's because I wanted to have a bigger part in things, but that's not how it started. And now I'm just very lucky to be able to do this so that I can have more opportunity to support women. Because now, speaking to all different economic levels, all different ethnicities and races, and we're all the same. And it is amazing to me that I didn't even know to look for it before I got in this role. Because before that, you're just behind a desk. You're just trying to make sure you don't go down to HR. And now I'm like, oh, I get to say what I feel in front of all these people. This is great. Does that answer your question?
Fashionista at her best. Yes, thank you. What about Cynthia? What is your why behind your chosen profession in the business field of banking?
Okay, so my why I came into the banking business as a woman is because we always have to break that glass ceiling of bringing in a lot of package that you bring behind when you come into this country as an immigrant. And my challenge, I started banking, as I mentioned before, at 18 years old. And my challenge here, when I stepped in, it was like not stay on as a simple mother and working a simple job, and not reaching out my knowledge and my capacity and what I can bring in the table for every single human that is in front of me. So that was my why. But also, it's how important it is to have a financial literacy and take control of your finances and your life is very important. We come from big families, we all, it's 3, 5, 4 people in the house, and it's not only the responsibility for only one person, it's for every single one. And sometimes people do not understand that to reach your goals in your home as a family, not only to get your house, for us, the first thing is the dream, American dream, have a home. That's your first thing that we're thinking, we just, it comes to our mind. And to get to that, you have to have a plan, and that's why I love to educate, empower women, and everybody, means too, and college students, kids, and it is that to see that how important it is to take a plan, to do your budget, and know that there's a lot of resources out there for you to meet that goal. And it's just, I feel honored when I help a family that they start from bottom up, and they're saving all their pennies and quarters, every single dollar that they earn for every single individual in the family, and they're building the credit, and it's so funny because sometimes those families, they call me and say, Cynthia, I'm doing good. And I was like, yes, you are. Oh, Cynthia, I overdraft. And they call me. I overdraft my account. What are you going to do to me? I said, nothing. But I'm going to tell you, you need to do this, right? But that's my passion. That's my passion. And I also, when you feel compassion for all those people, they are crossing the borders and they're coming to this country with not knowledge of the language. They don't have the resources, they don't have a home where to live or clothes or anything where to sleep on it. And that's why in this type of business, I feel like I can connect with every single organization that they can get me those resources for them. So I love to have, this person, okay, she's a lawyer, okay, come on, you want some free case? I need you. You, Center of Violence, this knucklehead is kicking the, whatever, we're gonna help. And then the other one needs, notary or get married and all this. I mean, I'm the bank, not the bank that holds your money. I'm the bank of all the resources that people need. And that's why I stay in this business.
Show me the money. Show me the but she, of course, does more than that. Thank you. The next question is around what specific challenges have you experienced being a woman? Some of you, might I add, a Black woman. In your profession, let's start with Danetta. Any challenges that you can think of?
Okay, well, first of all, my line of work, I didn't choose, it chose me. So my passion is early childhood education because I realize the importance of educating our babies before they get to kindergarten. And a lot of times, the problems that providers run into is not having enough finances to pay quality staff. And that is such a struggle in this industry. So the challenges that I run into with that is the state expecting us to help to provide such high quality education, which we want to do anyway, but not providing the funds to do so. So that's an ongoing fight. We are getting blessed here, lately, but that's basically what my challenge is. We just need the funds to do what we need to do for our babies.
Good, thank you. And then, same question, Mrs. Pettis, thinking about some specific challenges as a health care administrator and tying in your faith walk. What challenges?
The facility that I manage, facilities that I manage, I will say I am the first Black woman to
run a multi-million-dollar healthcare facility. And the challenge that I have is it is a male-dominated position. It's a facility administrator, which means I have to know about the vendors. I have to know about the roof. I have to know about the concrete. And I'm kept at home, okay? And when I say that, I have a husband that does husband things. And so when I got there, I'll never forget when I had a vendor coming in and he needed to see the boiler room. Y'all hear me? The boiler room. I said, okay. I'm walking and I'm like, okay, follow me. I'm gonna take you to the boiler room. He said, the boiler room? And I said, oh, okay. I didn't have the terminology right, and I'm just like, okay, well, let me get it right. So I was saying the wrong word, and I'm like, okay, let me get it right. And then because I was the first Black woman, I had to prove that I can lead. I had to prove that I can lead a team of all Caucasian people, and they had to be okay with it. First of all, I'm very non-confrontational because I want people to like me. And so my husband always would tell me, you're gonna have some confrontation. And I'm just like, I want everybody to like me. I'm the first lady, they're gonna like me. So when I got to the career, I've already educated myself and I did all of that. But when I got there, I had to start having tough conversations. And I had to be okay with people not liking me because I'm telling them how the job needs to be done. And so I needed to, there are times that I have to have that conversation with myself to say, you chose this, you're equipped for this, now go do this.
Very good. And kind of the same question, Mrs. Irvin. In thinking about your profession in terms of, I'm so proud of you, 15 plus years at the YMCA. I have all these millennial tendencies sometimes. I don't think I've stayed on the job long. Okay. So tell us, Tabitha, in your profession, in that C-suite, after all these years, what are some challenges you come up against?
So as I thought about this question, I would say over the years, the main challenges have been being second guessed.
Come on.
So in the YMCA, if you didn't know, the YMCA is female heavy. So across the country, and even in other countries, women in leadership work at the YMCA. So that part is not challenging. It's where I am now where we aren't. Okay, so almost 17 years now. So 17 years in September, I moved here from Metro Detroit to work at the YMCA after finishing my first master's degree to get experience in nonprofit management and leadership because I was going to go back to Pontiac, Michigan. I was going to go back. I was going to buy a building in my hometown, in my community, to solve the youth violence issue. There was a youth violence issue over 17 years ago, still going, just like here and everywhere else. And I was going to buy a building. They had started closing the community centers. And so I was like, kids need something to do. Teens need something to do. I got this master's degree. I'm a long-term substitute at the schools, but I don't want to teach. I want to do more with kids and community. How do I do that? So I moved here 17 years ago to do that at the Y, to go back home and open a building. And so throughout this 17-year journey, I would say the biggest challenge is being second guessed. And what I mean by that is the are you sures, the follow-up questions, the something happened and they need the manager, and I walk in the room and they're like, oh, you're the manager? That was when I was at a branch facility. So y'all know this works now. You know, when somebody walks in the Y and maybe they used to be at Jackson Lane, and some of you know I opened that facility 7 years ago, and so only 7% of YMCA professionals open a building. So I was in the 7% at that point, right? And so fast forward, people who might have gotten in trouble there, my name is probably on their account. So somebody comes in and says, well, I need to speak to her boss. And usually now people are like, no, she's a boss. There's no one else you can talk to. There's no one else you can talk to. So I would say, to close the loop on this question, now, with that 17 years, and being the most tenured leader in my office, there's no second guessing anymore. And that's not arrogance. Andrew Gritzmaker is our current CEO. He's been at the YMCA 1 year and 3 months.
Wow.
I've been at the YMCA 16 and a half years, and I've had 6 jobs and worked at 6 buildings. So at this point of my career, my journey in my life, and having had all these jobs and worked at all these buildings, I don't get second guessed as much anymore. Come on.
So now this last question is specific to each of your personal careers, and then we will open the floor for any questions that you all might have. So let me start with Leslie. Can you tell us anything that has been a specific adversity to you as a woman, and how you overcome it and continue to achieve in this man's world?
Well, one example would be when I started a mobile application business in 2019. I would go to potential investors and pitch my product, pitch the app, and everyone is typically a man who has the funds for investing, and they would tell me every time, no one's going to use that. Because the app was that you would upload an image of yourself, and someone, a trained image consultant from all over the country, could pick that up and respond. So it'd be with clothes you already own at the time you're getting dressed. So say you have a wedding to go to, or a first date, or an interview, and it's 10 o'clock at night, and you're in your ugly bra, and your big panties, and you have 19,000 outfits on the bed, and you just want somebody to tell you how good you're going to look and you're going to make this good impression. And so my background was that I had this image consulting certification, and I thought, well, man, we wouldn't have to worry about buying all these clothes. Somebody would help you make outfits, and it'd be right then. And so when I would go to these males, they would think I was crazy, because I did the research, and it said women experience wardrobe panic, actual panic, tears, can't breathe, we're ugly. 36 times a year. That's like almost once every week, girls. And so they would tell me that I didn't know what I was talking about. So that's one thing. So I got my cheeks are getting on. Oh man. And the other thing is actually from women. We want to say that women are very supportive of each other, but we hate on each other. I feel like we are sometimes the crabs in the buckets. And so when we, instead of pushing out that crab so that that crab can help get us all out, we're like, oh, no, you get back down here. So women, if we could figure out, and I think this just goes to the number of seats at the table that are open and to who they're open to and these kind of things. So it's a bigger issue, but I think what we see is there's that one seat at the table. There's one Tabitha. How can we get to be Tabitha? So we want to crowd around Tabitha, and then we're like, oh, you're going too far, you're going too far, you're going too far. Take it back. So if we could figure out that helping and pushing people up to the top is actually going to do us a lot better.
Very good. Miss Andrews, same question. What has been an adversity to you, and how have you overcome and continue to achieve?
Yeah, so I've pretty much been in this era of proving myself to the world kind of thing for a long time. When I was 18, I became a teen mom and had my son. I wasn't married. I was a senior in high school. So of course I got all the criticisms and you ruined your life and, you know, how could you let this happen, all this stuff. So I was always in that mode of like, okay, I'm gonna prove myself. You know, I don't have a man, so I can't pull the whole marriage card. I can't pull the perfect little family card, but I'm gonna show you that anything I touch is going to prosper. And, you know, maybe that didn't come always from the place of, you know, such a more passionate place. It was coming from a spiteful place, but it, you know, it gave me what I needed. It gave me that energy that I needed to make some things happen. And so that's okay. Sometimes it takes that growth for it to come from a different place. And so once you get to that point, you know, it'll be nicer. But I have, in the healthcare field, I love what Leslie brought up, because I was going to touch on that too, is, you know, in the healthcare field, it is predominantly women. But that's the issue, because the women do not like seeing you grow. And I was only in my role as a nurse scribe for 6 months before they promoted me to nurse scribe manager of cardiac telemetry, both units. So because that 6 months seemed to fly by and we were all working together 6 months ago, now that I'm supervisor, a lot of them, you know, didn't necessarily always treat me the best. They weren't always as respectful because, you know, you go from peer to manager and you're wearing a different hat now, and they're not able to see you because they're not able to celebrate with you.
Right.
And so that became an issue for me, where I was like trying to prove myself because I was the youngest in the room in most places. And then, you know, becoming manager. But really, when I got to corporate, because that was the track, you know, I was like, I'm going to be here, I'm going to be manager for a couple of years, and then I'm going to go to corporate. When I became a corporate clinical nursing recruiter, I was not only the youngest woman in the space, I was the only Black woman in the space. And now I have people questioning me. I have other women questioning me, questioning my point of view. They're trying to send me out to certain neighborhoods to recruit. And I said, maybe you should go, because I don't think I belong there. But they couldn't understand that you're actually sending me to a sundowning state, and I don't, a sundowning area, and I don't. Then I have to go and have that kind of conversation. You have to explain to people, like, the reason why I don't want to go in that area is not because I don't want to do my job at this hour. It's because it's not a safe space for me to be in by myself. And because I had to advocate for myself and make them understand, I face a few different challenges than what you're going to face, and had to make them understand. So always be fearless enough to advocate for yourself in those spaces when you are the only one and they don't understand. I've had issues of harassment where I filed reports on a direct supervisor. He was actually the director of human resources. But they didn't want to hear me. They didn't want to listen to my voice and listen to the reports, look at the screenshots. And so I had to end up leaving that role and continue elevating further in other spaces throughout healthcare. But, you know, I never stopped trying to fight for my voice to be heard. And that's the main thing, is you're always going to have people trying to drown out your voice. Be louder.
This young diva. Wait a minute. Very good. Thank you. So, Ms. Chambers, You talked about funding, is often an opportunity, but yet you persist. And even though Little Thinkers School, you still be making big thinking moves. So tell us what keeps you motivated to do that.
What motivates me is I work with a lot of different women on different levels. I have women that are working, trying to hire their education, single women that are looking for childcare so they can go to work and get a higher education. So then I have my staff that I have to look out for as far as salary and things of that nature. So I don't know. That's my passion. I was a single mother, and it's just I realized the importance again of early childhood education because from a family of 5 siblings, my sister was the only one who went to preschool, and with that being said, she's the only one that went to college. So that's how important early childhood education is to me. And so if I can instill that in my community with our babies, and the parents make them understand that is. If the opportunity is there for you, and it is because childcare is very expensive, very, very expensive. That's right. So that's what keeps me going every day and keeps me growing and trying to put locations in different communities within our community. I'm going to do it all right here in the inner city. So yeah, that's kind of what keeps me going as far as number 1, number 2, number 3, and so on.
Cynthia, my mighty woman. Tell us one adversity for you, and what do you do to remain successful?
As the first woman, Latina, and getting into, I worked for Partner First for 8 years. I tried to prove myself to them so I can get this department, the community outreach department, which wasn't created in the company. So they didn't have it. So I think my constant, working with the community and also running my branch. I was running my branch and I was doing community. And, letting them know the upper management and also ask them, hey, can I join your board? Because I wanted to be present. I wanted to talk to every single person on the board directors to let them know what I can do for this company. So I would say that I use my strength to just approach that, and also to be like, I'm very pushy. When I try to get my yes, I'm very pushy because I don't know, it's a Spanish phrase, but I always say, when I want something, I say, I want to talk to the owner of the circus, not to the clowns, So my boss always says, Cynthia, why didn't you tell me that you are going to the CEO? Sorry, but I just have this event and I need money. So she's the more money, the person, and I need to. So I always have that initiative, and I never receive a no for that. Never until today's day, I never received no from my upper management. And just for them to trust me, but it wasn't easy too, First of all, with my accent and everything, they say, oh, what did she say? And I say, okay, let me calm down, let me lower my voice and slow down a little bit to explain to you. I can draw a picture, I can move it, I can dance as I want, but it worked for me, and I got my yes, and this is thankful for me for being persistent. If you're not persistent what you wanted to accomplish, then you're not doing you're just not maxing your own capacity and reaching out what you actually can do, for everybody and for yourself. So my CEO always, when I'm coming to a corporate office, the first thing they hear is my heels. So and I run, and when I say, Cynthia's coming, and they all know already Cynthia's coming, and I say, she's coming for something, and when it's about to support my community, I go all out. I just take I go above and beyond, and because they need it, because if you have the power to connect with all those upper management people who have the authority to decide where the money is going, or the resources they need to go, why not? We have to move. We have to move those mountains, check them a little bit. I love to check my upper management, and they don't love it sometimes, but hey, as long as they give me the yes, I don't care how much I check them. But that's what, in the beginning, the diversity was just too much barriers, too much rocks, I will say, in my path. But I start kicking them out. That's what you do in life. And actually, it was I was very successful in that part. And I'm still learning, though. I'm still learning, because even though today's day I finally got my department, and they created the community outreach department and Partner First, and it was not because of me. And that is my pride. And how long is gonna take it? I'm in the Northeast, but we also have East Coast branches, and that will be my next one. And we'll keep doing what I just can do, and it's in my power. And I always say, embrace your voice, embrace your strength, light up to another human being in front of you. It's very important, and just do what you are talented to, and God help us, and God's always next to us. So yeah.
Very good. Thank you. Yeah, you can get into Tabitha. She's nice. As leaders lead, and I was just being like But Tabitha, seriously, you shared really an adversity already with us, but honestly, I just always admire you for your strength and your positivity. So tell me, what keeps you positive?
That's good. So I was trying to conjure my answer before you were asking me, but you asked me a different question. Let's switch it up a bit. So positivity comes from within. So since I've been sitting up here, my mom actually called my phone. I hope it's all good, but we'll find out when I get finished. I don't like people calling my phone back to back. That makes me feel like it's an emergency. But prayer, I've gotten more and more into positive self-talk. I drive around a lot. I'm in charge of all of the YMCA branches from Whitley County to Wells County and every branch in town. Today I was in Wells County this morning. So a lot of times now I'm driving with the radio off. There's some prayer, there's some self-talk, there is trusted, wise counsel. So I always have my people. Some of them might be in the room. Some of them have been people that just listen to me. I trust people to do that, and I'm not calling someone that I don't trust for that. And so my mom is my hero, 100% my hero. And I watch, she's an albino. She's turning 72. And so she's an albino that's 72, a person with no pigmentation. So her skin is white, her hair is blonde, her eyes are blue. And she was born in the 50s, which means she grew up in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And people were trying to figure out who she was, what color she was, what was she, could she see, could she do things, right? So that's the person who was my mother. And I grew up in a 2-parent household, but to know her struggles, and see her stories from learning how to drive a car in her 30s, from getting a college degree in her 50s. I mean, this is the person who parented me all while I was 15 and 16 driving our van to pick people up to go to church, to pick people up to bring them food, to take our cousins' coats. There was always extra people at our house. We would wake up on Saturday mornings and she would be praying with a group of ladies. All this stuff was happening in my house. So unbeknownst to me, I was going to be turning into this type of person. I had no idea. As a 16-year-old, having to get up early to drive people to church on Sundays made me kind of attitude. But now I'm like, wow, look how that played out in my life. I couldn't have called that, right? I was an engineering student when I was 19 at University of Michigan thinking I was going to engineer cars. Fast forward, not at all. Right? So I think I remain positive because of who raised me, as well as those other things that I do: prayer, self-talk, and trusted conversations.
Tisha, some of those mother and daughter relationships are tough though, right? So what keeps you inspired to keep brain, pow, her, and bring it, push it? What keeps you inspired?
So I'm gonna step back because Bree said something that breaks my heart. I've been empowering girls for a decade to empower each other. So I'm trying to change this narrative that we have as women, right? And I think that what we need to remember as women is remember that that's a generational thing that was passed down. Remember that women didn't start it. What happened was we're all fighting for this thing that we didn't have at one point, right? Jobs, voting, all these different things, and especially women of color, like, are behind as well, right? So there's this fear mindset that still exists. So as women, when I see that behavior, I'm a big one for teaching you to use your voice. And I am not afraid to use my voice with you. If you are doing something that's unjust, I will tell you very quickly it's wrong. But what happens is as women, we kind of silence ourselves when things get uncomfortable. And when women are behaving this way and you're encountering this, I just encourage you, as a woman who is taking our next generation of girls, when they come into our programming, we say to them, when you're here, you're empowering other girls. That's what your goal is. And I just encourage you to have those conversations when those things are going on. And I'm not saying that always goes good. I'm not saying that at all. But you still have to have it. And I see what's missing is that sometimes we don't have those hard conversations because it's so uncomfortable as women. But call other women out in a nice way. Call them out and say, hey, this is what I'm seeing, this is what I'm feeling. So what encourages me to keep doing the work that I'm doing, yes, in our nonprofit, empowering our girls to make sure that we stop having this conversation, like, so that our next generation of girls are all about pulling up that chair and not being afraid, because it's just fear. It's not because we innately don't want to help each other, it's just fear. So that encourages me to know that we have a lot of work to do with our girls, and then at the same time we have some things that we need to heal with women, and we need to fix the fear, and we need to still teach you how to use your voice and communicate and just really know how to come to the table. And sometimes it's not going to go well, but you still used your voice and it mattered, and at least that other woman heard you say, hey, I'm not sure what's going on, but this is what I'm feeling, and like, this is what I see. So it inspires me to hear all this because there's a lot of work to do still, which is great. It's okay.
Thank you. Of course, Mrs. Pettis, you shared with us some adversities in the workplace, and as we wrap up the panelists, we know you, that pretty woman too, right? Okay. Can you give us an encouraging word to keep us motivated as women, as people of God? I have been sitting here wondering what question she gonna ask me. And then she started changing. I'm like, okay,
can't have that answer. Then she changed it. Then I get an answer. I can't have that answer. Okay. Well, I can handle this one. Ladies.
Come on.
Ladies.
Yeah.
Can I?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Can I stand up? Ladies, in between our two ears is our worst enemy at times. We talk ourselves out of so many things. We put the tools in our pocket. We go acquire the knowledge. We have the babies. We make the homes. We dress up and look cute. I didn't know you were the fashion lady. When I walked in, I said, "You cute." We do all of these things, and yet we're still afraid. We're still afraid to be us. We're afraid to fail. We're afraid to be honest. I wear these butterflies now because they remind me that we have to go through a metamorphosis at times. We have to, I say to a lot of young people, enjoy the discovery of the journey of you. And so through our ups and our downs, we're going to go through highs, we're going to go through lows, we're going to go through wins, we're going to go through losses. But in today's time, we are so focused with social media, posting our wins. And so I started last year, Resilient Woman. And Resilient Woman basically says, I admit I have not gotten it all together. I admit that I failed in some areas. I admit that I don't know what I'm doing. But I'm resilient because I keep getting up every day and I keep trying. So as we close out this Women's History Month, what would have happened if they never tried? We honor them because they tried and they failed and they failed and they tried it, but they kept on trying. So as you, because as I'm sitting up here with powerhouses, man, we gotta be okay not getting it right. We gotta be okay failing, but most importantly, legacy says that we have to teach the younger women. We have, if we keep showing our wins, but never explaining them what we did when we lost, there is going to arise a generation that doesn't know. Shame on us. So I'll leave you with this. I don't even know what I'm leaving with yet, but I'll leave you with this. That sounds good. Put that right there. Put that right there. Ladies. Hey, ladies. Hey, ladies. Don't be afraid to strive. Don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid, most importantly, to dream. Because the moment you stop dreaming, and I don't care what age you are, I love that you are going out and you're going to try and achieve this goal. I love it. Because so many times as we get to a certain age, we're like, well, I'm just going to sit back and enjoy. We have a responsibility, not only to our children, but to ourselves to finish strong. So ladies, put on your boots, put on your heels, put some lipstick on. Even when you don't feel cute, look, just strive to be cute. Strive to be cute. And reach for the stars. Beyond the sky is the limit for us. When someone gets to your funeral, what will they say about you? Let that today drive your passion. I'll leave you with this little story. There was a lady that got COVID. I'm not going to talk about your mama. My mom on the side of COVID. There was a lady who had COVID. She went into the hospital. She was on a ventilator for 57 days.
She then went to a nursing home. She got a trach and everything. She made it out in enough time to see her youngest graduate. In enough time to be able to move into the house that they had already purchased before she got COVID and went into the hospital. She got out, she gave a graduation party, she went through therapy, she started driving. All within a number of maybe 3 months, she lived. We got a call at 7 in the morning that she died. The Lord allowed her to be on her deathbed, but to bring her back. What would you do if you knew you only had 20 days left? What would you do if you only had 6 months left? How would you live it? Would you live it fearlessly? Would you live it intentionally? Would you start depositing things into your children? Because there's stuff I need to give you because I only got 20 days left. Ladies, hey ladies, let's live intentionally from today forward.
Very good. Oh my goodness. I think I should go. It's a seat right there. I feel like y'all just need to stay on up here. We'll have a few questions. But I would be remiss. I know we're after the 7:30 mark, but Councilwoman Chambers says people over politics. And you better believe it, because she has brought this to fruition the second time, and there will be a third. But she definitely would want me to ask if you guys have